The civil war between Donald Trump and Elon Musk is not just an outburst between two of the most awful men in America. It is also between Elon Musk and Donald Trump's White House. And of course, that includes Donald Trump's terrible press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, who was asked about the most shocking revelation of this civil war today, which is that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, according to Elon Musk. And when Karoline Leavitt was confronted with that scandal, she melted down, lost it, and accidentally threw her boss under the bus in a shocking moment that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we can get into Karoline Leavitt's response, we have to begin where this all started, and that's the second post that Elon made today about the Epstein files that we can see right here. Elon Musk responded to a video of MSNBC detailing Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein that we can see right here.
Of a Mar-a-Lago party shows Trump giving Epstein his personal attention. Donald! 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 The footage, shot in November of 1992, before Trump opened the resort as a club, shows the future president surrounded by cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins, capturing Trump's fun-loving bachelor lifestyle for an appearance on Faith Daniels' NBC talk show.
We're going to get great ratings in your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet three new guests, among them the financier Jeffrey Epstein.
Come on in. Go inside.
More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras. Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances, Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter. But as the president...
We have all known about Donald Trump's relationship to Jeffrey Epstein for some time now. I've made countless videos on it, even though the mainstream media refuses to cover this story. But the idea that Elon Musk thinks he can frame himself as some hero here by calling it out at the last second as he's fighting with Donald Trump, thinking he's exposing this, is just preposterous. It's laughable. You got the man elected president when you knew about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. You didn't learn about this today. You've been defending him the whole time. Now that, it's sour grapes, you turn on Trump with information you already knew. It is just gross from both of them. And that is a point that Nicole Wallace made really well that I want to check out before we get into Karoline Leavitt.
Why does any of this matter, right? Two tarantulas in a bowl. Why does it matter? Well, here's why. When the most powerful person in our government fights with the richest person in the world, we, as a public, get to peer deep inside the most corrupt and superficial alliance in American political history. And as they claw and strike rhetorically at one another, they affirm our deepest concerns and suspicions. Trump confirms that Musk was always only in it to enrich his companies, and Musk confirms that Trump was always for sale.
What is happening in this civil war is that Elon and Trump are both exposing the worst parts of themselves and each other, not just to the broader electorate in all of America. We knew this, but to MAGA. MAGA is always tuned out of these awful elements of the people they love the most because they don't reach, their echo chambers or these inner circles where they hide themselves. But now Donald Trump and Elon Musk are deliberately showing the worst elements of each other, and MAGA can't run as much as they'd like to, like Donald Trump did right here.
Yes. We're going to have a little discussion now, very private. And I just want to thank you all for being here. And thank you very much, media. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, any response to Elon Musk claiming about the Epstein files?
So Trump refused to take any questions from the press. That's no shock. But someone who had to, because it is their job, was Karoline Leavitt. She was confronted about the Epstein scandal, And her response says so much, even though she said so little. Caitlin Collins reported the White House response to Musk saying the Epstein files haven't been made public because Trump is in them, with Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt saying, "This is an unfortunate episode from Elon, who is unhappy with the One Big Beautiful Bill because it does not include the policies he wanted. The president is focused on passing this historic piece of legislation and making our country great again." So Karoline Leavitt directly asked, is Trump in the Epstein files? Is that why you're not releasing them? And she doesn't say anything about the Epstein files. That is a clear deflection, and it's also kind of an admission of guilt. Donald Trump refuses to address this because we know the truth. Elon has known the truth the whole time. It doesn't make him a hero for sharing it now. He's certainly not a hero. But Karoline Leavitt is kind of throwing Donald Trump under the bus by refusing to answer this question because we know what her non-answer means. The White House for so long has been terrified of this question. They've been running away from it. But now the man with the biggest social media following on the planet, who uses the platform predominantly used by Republicans, who owns the whole thing, is making sure all of them see the one thing Donald Trump wants hidden from his base. This is an absolute disaster, and there's no amount of spin that Karoline Leavitt can try to put on this ball to deflect, because when she does, she only makes it look worse for Donald Trump. That was a complete implosion from her, and it makes Trump just look so bad. But it's not the only thing that they are trying to hide lately. Of course, we want to cover this civil war, but in part, it is a distraction in many ways from what Donald Trump is trying to accomplish, taking away health care from millions of Americans, devastating this country for decades to come, all in service of his billionaire buddies. And another plan that Donald Trump is trying to hide, making a database of the information of all Americans, something called out by Congressman Dan Goldman in this clip right here that I want to take a look at.
I think you raise a very interesting point, Mr. Jordan, Chairman Jordan, wanting to make sure that a warrant is obtained to search Americans' data. So I recognize we're here focused on the Cloud Act, and it's an important issue. I don't dispute that. But in the times we're in, this seems quaint and intellectual. Academic discussion. And in reality, what we're dealing with is an administration, current administration, that is trying to categorize, gather, and streamline data of Americans given with access by a private company. Now, let me explain a little bit, and I want to ask some questions. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard of Palantir, which is a large data company, has a lot of connections to Elon Musk, to Doge. And in March, Donald Trump issued an executive order that would increase the sharing of all unclassified data between and among federal agencies. It directed agency heads to authorize and facilitate both the intra- and inter-agency sharing and consolidation of unclassified agency records. Now, a New York Times report in May outlined in great detail how the president has employed Palantir to carry out this executive order, essentially to merge all data from all different executive branch agencies into one single database. Now, it's unclear who would control that database, who would have access to it, what searches would be done, and there seem to be no guardrails about that. Another New York Times article says that the administration, that this database would have 314 different points of data about every American. Literally every American, 314 various categories of data will be consolidated into one database by a private company, Palantir. Now, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle often express concern about government surveillance, about ensuring that we get search warrants in the context of 702, which is a a small universe of already obtained information that we know are communications with people of interest from of foreign nationalities. Here, we just have every American's data put into one database with no guidelines, no restrictions. We don't know what Palantir is doing. We don't know what Doge is doing. We don't know what Elon Musk is doing. It essentially creates a one-stop shop for all Americans' data, which, as we're talking about cybersecurity, I'm sure you all agree that creates a tremendous cybersecurity risk if China or Russia were to hack this. Now, the chairman of this committee has said in the past, quote, Congress has struggled, of this subcommittee, Mr. Biggs, Congress has struggled for 4 years with a corrupt presidential administration, meaning the Biden administration, that further expanded the opportunities for the government to spy on its citizens. So there was nothing in the Biden administration that approximates this collection of data, this opportunity for the government to spy on its citizens. And I'm not even talking about breaking laws under the tax code and sharing tax information with immigration enforcement agencies. I'm not even talking about sharing the tax information or Social Security Administration information. This is just every piece of data that is out there in the government's control, consolidated with one private company and one database. And so I would ask my friend, Chairman Biggs, to think about whether, if you are truly worried about government surveillance, why are we not doing any oversight of Palantir, its contracts with the government, its consolidation of all Americans' personal information into one database and the cybersecurity risks? And I really hope, in all seriousness, that you will do oversight over that if you do truly care about government surveillance of citizens. And I yield back.
While, of course, we will be covering the civil war between Trump and Elon, I also want to use it as an opportunity to shed light on the information and the very important events of today that they are clearly trying to distract Trump in so many ways. We're going to be doing that, even though I might not sound perfect right now because I did just get my wisdom teeth removed. But I promise in the coming days, the reporting will sound a little less slurred. We will be on top of it. And if you want to support the work this channel is doing, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 1 million. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.